I've seen a lot of movies in 2021. By lot, I mean around 250 movies, and like most of them, you should also share your opinions on the comment box about what you think your favorite movie was that you've seen in 2021. Doesn't mean that released in 2021, but just that you've seen in that year. This list is not at all ranked, but just shared in alphabetically, where I will talk about some of the greatest movies that I've seen in the year and really loved them. And here you go. 20th Century Woman. 20th Century Woman is kind of ambivient. There are some of the silent moments with an ambivient background score that was the most about this film, that connected with me, made me feel in the movie and made me relate with the characters. The movie is actually about a older woman and two other women who helps the son of the elder woman who is growing up in his teenagehood and is like every teenagers who doesn't want their mother to help them but have figured their own ways out. Mike Mills is the kind of director who works very fine with nostalgia. I have seen his 4 movies. Recently he has released Come On, that too has that absolute nostalgic feeling. I think he does it so great. I Am Easy to Find is a short film made by him that is also about nostalgia, about life, death, living and dying and the process in the middle. He portrays it really well, and I think 20th Century Woman is his greatest example of how to portray nostalgia. And the movie has little moments. It's just the people and their story. It's how they live their life in the 1970s California. As much as it's feminist movie, it's that much is about every kind of people. It's amazing because how Mike Mills portray the story. Greta Gerwig's character is absolutely the finest without a doubt, and it's absolutely amazing. I don't know what else to say, but that's just it.
Now everybody say it together. Menstruation. Like gentle, happy, but casual. And
Menstruation.
It's gross, Abby.
no, it's not. It's not gross. It's a very deep time creatively, and it's emotionally transformative.
About Time. About Time is a rom-com, but it's kind of different. It's a little different as it's about a man who finds out after his 18th birthday that the men in his family can time travel, especially going to the past, not the future, and change their past. So he uses it and changes his past, maybe 5 minutes ago or ages ago or many days ago, but he changes his past and have a really great life. About Time is the kind of movie where nothing really bad happens. There are sad moments, but they are not portrayed as really depressing or anything. They are portrayed wholesome. They're portrayed in a perfect way of life and under the light of beauty of life. As many rom-coms I have seen in my life, there is a structure that the couple meets each other, falls in love with each other, then breaks up, then meets each other at the end again. That's how most of the rom-coms I've seen have gone through, but there is nothing like that happens in About Time. The couple here goes through a perfect relationship from beginning to end, and it doesn't feel unrealistic. It feels absolutely real. That's what exactly the power of this film, because this film is not exactly about the relationship thing. It's about family, it's about love, it's about people and everything that comes in between. Especially the father-son relationship is the best thing about this film, and I think Richard Curtis does it so well here. Richard Curtis have directed the well-known rom-com Love Actually as well, and this one I think is little mature, and it's really changed my perspective about rom-com, and it changed my day. It is indeed one of the most wholesome movies I've ever seen in my life, and in one way it's absolutely perfect.
Should we come back when you haven't got any company, or?
Oh, well, that would be quite difficult because Tim actually lives here.
Really? With you?
Yes. Yeah, but no oral sex, I promise you.
Columbus. Columbus is frame-wise great. Its every frame is perfect. I can absolutely print the frames and hang on to my wall because it's that perfect. Kogonada's directional debut Columbus is a film released in 2017 about a young girl of 17 who meets a man in his city who have come from Korea to meet his father who is admitted to the hospital. Now the relations between these two people is the 17-year-old girl was about to attend a speech that was to be given by that man who is hospitalized. Now they meet each other, they understand their connection and they start talking about each other. While the 17-year-old girl is fancied with architecture and really fan of architecture, the man is not really fan of architecture because his father is, and his father always put pressure on him for learning architecture as it seems. So they don't really have that connection on that matter, but the film is actually about forming the connection. While they both know about each other, both try to learn about each other, both hang around in the city, and it's not really a romantic film, it's just this connection, and it's a hypnotic film. The music by Hammock was absolutely great, the storyline was absolutely great, but what is most important is the friends. I can write down the story, I can write down what the characters do. This is a great movie, it's a great script, it's a great performance with great cinematography, but I cannot portray the hypnotic feeling it delivers, and that's really something special about it. And I have seen this film 3 times over the year, and it was really amazing.
I don't know shit about architecture or care.
I don't believe you.
It's true. I'm just like everyone here. You grow up around something and it feels like nothing.
Comet. The story of Comet is not really new. It's a film about breakup. It's a film about relationship that didn't form so well. There are movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Her. So many great movies about this very factor where the relationship doesn't work because the connection between these two people get very lousy. What I liked about Comet is the male character and his continuous speaking about understanding the matter of love and life. I kind of relate to it because what I feel like he's trying to understand about everything, the falling in love, falling out of love, going into relationship, going out of relationship, and everything. He wants to learn all about that, but at the end of the day he doesn't understand. So he says, I don't understand anything, but I do know that I love you. And that's what Comet tells me. There is nothing to understand about falling in love, it's just it. And Comet outstandingly portrays that idea under a very short story of 91 minutes, and Justin Long's performance was great. I think he did a really great job here.
Why am I so hell-bent on getting you back? You fucking hate Pixar movies, for crying out loud. You still have an AOL account. I don't want to be with a person like that. Why does it feel so impossible to let you go?
The Hand of God. I have recently rewatched The Hand of God, and I think it's really a miracle of a film. I have seen Paolo Sorrentino's movie The Great Beauty that had won the Best Foreign Language Picture Oscar, and I didn't really enjoy it. But The Hand of God, when I started watching this, I had really no expectation, but until it ended, I was moved. I was completely moved. I didn't know what I saw, but I knew that I saw something that I can relate till the end of my life. The movie is actually set in 1980s in Italy's Naples, where a young person pursues his love for football and thinks about being a filmmaker at the end. To say it less briefly, The Hand of God is a family drama. It's absolutely personal to the director Paolo Sorrentino because it's based on his own life. It's almost based on his own life as far as I know, as far as I have read in some of the articles. I think it's an absolutely honest movie. There are so many socially unacceptable things happen, so many sad things happen, depressing things happen, but it doesn't give a view. It just shows what it is, and the viewers are about to judge from their own perspective. And what I saw was a beauty of a film. I can watch it again and again, over and over, and keep relating myself with the main character Fabietto because I think it's indeed one of the most relatable character I have ever come across in a film.
Non mi piace più. Ne voglio un'altra, immaginaria, uguale a quella che tenevo prima. La realtà non mi piace più. La realtà è scadente. Ecco perché voglio fare il cinema.
La Haine. La Haine translates to hate in English. It's a French movie released in 1995, very short in length, about 98 minutes, that sets in one day after a huge riot on the previous day that had been turned down by the police that created a huge chaos. A friend got injured. There are the movie sets around 3 friends, one with a gun and one is a bodybuilder and one is kind of crazy. Both 3 of them are kind of crazy. I connect with this personally because the 3 characters, the 3 friends in this movie that I think I see every day, and I like how amazingly they are written, how realistic it feels, that it feels like a documentary at some point because of the script. The script is so detailed. There are little dialogues, there are momentary dialogues that doesn't need, but just put the realism on the film. I've seen this film 2 times and would like to watch it more, and no matter it is released in 1995, it will be still be relatable years and years later.
C'est moi qui parle là. Oh, c'est à moi que tu parles. Les mecs, c'est moi qui parle, son cul. C'est à moi qui parle, putain. C'est à moi que tu parles comme ça, mec.
Paris, Texas. The title in this film is a place, a Paris that is in Texas. It's not Paris in France, but in Texas, a Paris, Texas. And what this film is about, that if I say how it starts with a man wandering around open field where he comes across his brother who haven't met him in 5 years and takes him home, takes him to his kid that he had abandoned 5 years ago, and asks him what happened to his family, to his kid and to his wife, that he doesn't really speak for very long but finally speaks. politics and later tries to embark on a journey to find his wife. Paris, Texas is kind of adventurous. It's very beautiful and it is well performed, it is well written, obviously its cinematography is perfect. Paris, Texas is beautiful because more than its cinematography is this story, is this unbelievable nostalgia that the film portrays through these three characters, the broken family especially, how they reconnect with each other, how they reconnect the loss, and that's what so many of us wants to do, regain a loss, the feeling of regaining someone, the feeling of getting back someone you loved. It's so perfect. It's definitely one of the greatest movie ever made about love and loss.
Travis.
Tony Erdmann. Tony Erdmann is a German film about a relationship between a father and a daughter. The father has come back from jail for something he has done after a few months and go to meet his daughter, and he sees that his daughter is not like before, as obviously his daughter has changed. She is now very serious, and he on the other side is such a funny person who wants to make jokes at serious moments, but his daughter is definitely not into his jokes. So there is a conflict between these two people, and the whole movie about 162 minutes sets on that, and is absolutely fascinating if I say you. It's a father-daughter relationship combining amazing drama and comedy. I think it's pretty rare, and every time this gets so well mixed, I find myself crazy about that movie, and Tony Erdmann is one of those.
Ich habe jetzt jemand engagiert als Ersatztochter.
Mhm. Naja, das ist ja gut, dann ruft er dich auch zum Geburtstag an und so, dann mache ich mir da keinen Stress mehr.
Uncut Gems. This movie is fascinating. It's a roller coaster ride. Uncut Gems is by Safdie Brothers, which is about a man who is kind of broke, has a lot of debts, so that he had spent gambling. In the movie, he finds opal, a valuable opal, and now wants to sell it, but somehow he have lost it to someone he had gave it to, and now he is on a journey to find back that opal and sell it with huge amount of price. Uncut Gems feels like that you breathe at the first second and then you breathe out when it ends after 136 minutes of runtime. There are people who says that they can't really watch it again because it's so full of anxiety, but I think I felt the anxiety, but I would really definitely watch it again.
I disagree. I disagree, Gary.
E is finally on this list in the alphabetical order. Is actually maybe the best movie I seen all over the year. There are just so many things happened and I don't know how to express them because it's all about life. It's just it's felt like that I saw my own life, though I couldn't relate with it by character wise, by it not like that everything that happened in the movie happened in my life, but I felt like I just saw my own life. That's what exactly amazing about Edward Young's E. It's a masterpiece, there is no doubt about that, and it feels like your own life, and I don't know why it felt like for me. Edward Young shoot movies with still frames where the camera rarely moves, and I think that creates an impact of life. You see your own life going through things that you cannot change. You look back to your lives, you remember memories, and you see that you cannot change, and the moments kind of made me feel like that you cannot change things that have gone, and this movie is filled with a lot of it. Regrets, love, and some of the characters crying and hustling around things that they cannot change. The kid also in one of the scenes says that why I cannot see things that you see and why you cannot see things that I see. Or the man meets his past lover and says that I have never loved anyone else, while they are both living another life with different families. And or the woman crying about his mother who is basically sick, wondering that she hadn't been with her as much she needed to. These are things that they cannot really change, and this movie is really filled with it. And life is filled with things that you think you cannot change but really want to. You think you could go back to the past and could change it and make life better for yourself, but that doesn't happen. This is why I think E feels so real, feels so lifelike, and I think it's rare for a movie to do that. Movies can try to do that, but to do that with such perfection from beginning to end of around 174 minutes, what Edward Young did is a miracle in here.
E.我从来没爱过另外一个人。
Share your own opinions down in the comment box about the best movies that you think seen in 2021. Till then, just take care and keep watching movies. I also gonna share my top 10 favorite movies of 2021, but before that I'll have to see more and more movies. But till then, it's just it, and thanks for watching.